Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Ask Alan. I'm Alan Crone, the CEO of the Crone Law Firm, and for regular viewers of this show, you know that Ask Alan is a show where you can ask me anything in the world, and I'll answer it. I don't warrant the accuracy of the answers. They're my answers. I think they're right, but take it for what it's worth. On today's segment, I'm going to answer some more questions submitted from one of my nieces who wanted to know a little bit more about me, and I think they're kind of fun questions, so I picked them to use today. So the first one is, if you could visit one place in the world that you've never been, where would you go? That's a great question. I had to think about that for a long time. You know, there are lots of places I'd like to go that I've never been. I'd love to go to the island of Malta. I'm a Knight of Malta, which is one of the coolest things I've ever done. That's a whole other show to talk about. But I'd love to go to the island of Malta. Lots of history there. St. Paul in the Acts of the Apostles was shipwrecked on the island of Malta. That's how far back history goes there. I'd love to go to Rome and Milan. Those would be great places to go, as well as Constantinople, or Istanbul as it's currently known. Lots of history there. I think, though, the one place I've never been that I would love to go is I'd love to go to the Holy Land. I'd love to go to Jerusalem and Bethlehem and that area and see the holy sites, and be in the area where our Lord walked. Not just that, but all the other history, rich history that goes back thousands of years in that area. So that's where I would like to go. I'd like to go to Jerusalem. What's your favorite role that you've ever played when you were doing theater? Some of you may know I was a theater major in college briefly, and met my wife doing musical theater over in Eastern Arkansas. And I think my favorite role that I ever did is I played King Arthur and in Camelot, and that was a lot of fun. That's a great show. Lots of good music in that show, and we had a really, really good cast. And I think most actors will tell you that one of the things that really defines a role for them in terms of how much they enjoy it are the other people in the cast. And that was I think that was either 1990 or 1991. It was a long time ago, but I really enjoyed that production. And if properly persuaded, there are a couple songs from that show that I still remember and be glad to perform and a little bit of coaxing. And then the last one, what was my favorite subject to study in law school? I don't know. I'm probably unique among lawyers in that I really, really, really liked law school. I had a great time. I enjoyed the intellectual process of studying law. I think that my favorite subject was evidence. And one of the reasons for that is I love trying cases. And I knew even in law school that I wanted to try cases. And so I really felt like I needed to really understand the rules of evidence, what can come in during a trial and so forth. And sometimes the rules of evidence are very interesting logic puzzles and ways to get evidence in for one purpose, whereas you may not be able to get it in for another purpose. So I enjoyed that. I had a great evidence teacher. Professor Banks taught me evidence. I enjoyed it immensely. A friend of mine gave me a set of tapes of Irving Younger on evidence. And Irving Younger is deceased now, but he was a very well-known lecturer on the laws of evidence, particularly trial practice evidence, and how to think on your feet, how to use the rules of evidence. And he had a great delivery style and had a lot of followers. And I had a tray of about, this was back in the days of cassette tapes, and I had a tray of, I don't know, maybe 10 to 15 individual tapes. They were about, I guess, about 45 minutes long a piece, and it was his lectures on various rules of evidence. And that whole semester, I just played them in my car over and over again. And really, that along with the lectures and the reading that Professor Banks gave us, I really felt like was a good, thorough grounding in the rules of evidence. So I doubt there are many lawyers who would say their favorite class in law school was evidence, but maybe not. Maybe lots of trial lawyers, that was their favorite class, but that was my favorite class. So those are my 3 questions for today. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed sharing with you those answers. Please submit any questions that you have to ask Alan. You can reply to this email or comment on social media and just ask us any question, and I'll try to get to it in a subsequent broadcast. And check out Ask Alan the podcast. We've got 3 or 4 podcasts with guests now, and me asking them questions and they asking me questions. So check that out as well. And I hope that you have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you on the next Ask Alan.